What's cracking, y'all? You are now watching Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic for today.
What's cracking, y'all? Back with some more Michael Jordan content. All right, about last June 2023, I had reacted to a video about, I think it was 23 Unbreakable Michael Jordan Records, if I'm not mistaken. So I came across another video by Uncut Hoops, great YouTube channel for basketball content. Go check it out. As always, there's a link to that page in the description of this video. All right, so 45 Unbreakable Michael Jordan Records. All right, let's get into it.
And today I am back with a video. This time once again we're going to focus in on one NBA legend, that being Michael Jordan. And in my past videos we look at some NBA records that are quote-unquote unbreakable, and for this video we're going to spotlight Jordan and look at 45 unbreakable Michael Jordan records. So with that being said, let's get into the video. So for this video right here, looking at 45 Unbreakable Jordan records, there really is no order or rhyme or reason where I place each record. So with that in mind, let's get into the list. So first up, for one of Jordan's best ever records, in 1992, he had the most points ever in a single playoff run at 759. Also in 93, he had the highest scoring average in a title run at 35.1 points per game. In the 91 finals, he had the highest assist average ever for a non-point guard. His average in that series was 11.4. And speaking of the finals, Jordan to this day had the highest scoring average in the finals at 33.6 for a player who played at least 3 finals series. In 93, he averaged 41.0 points per game versus the Phoenix Suns, the highest average in NBA history. In the past 30 years, no players even cracked 39 points as a finals scoring average. Also looking at Jordan's finals resume, he had 3 games where he scored 45 plus points. No other player has more than 2. And we're looking at playoff scoring overall. Jordan had the most consecutive 10-point games and scored 10 plus points in every playoff game, that being 179. No other player in NBA history can say they've done that. And lastly, for our first segment, we have the fact that Jordan never scored under 15 points in a single playoff game, once again being the only player ever to accomplish that feat. So that right there was our first 9 records that I think will never be broken by any player in NBA history. As you can tell, Jordan was an all-time great scorer, and in the finals brought his A game every single time. Now looking at our next set of records, they're equally as impressive. The first one being that Jordan is the only player over 35 to win all 3 MVPs in a single season. That being the MVP overall, the All-Star MVP, as well as the Finals MVP. And in that very same season, 98, Jordan actually made more money than his entire Bulls team at $33.5 million. The second highest earning teammate on the Bulls roster had $4.5 million, and Jordan to this day is the only player ever to make more money than his whole entire team. Also in 88, he became the only player ever with MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and a scoring title in the same season. No one's done it before, and nobody's done it since. And looking at the defensive end, Jordan has the most blocks ever by a guard at 131. He also has the second most, and D Wade's in 3rd place. Also on Jordan's resume, he has the most 200 steal, 100 block seasons at 2, no other player having more than 1. And in the playoffs, he has the longest streak ever of consecutive 20-point games, that being at 60. And lastly, for our second set of records, we have the fact that Jordan has the most playoff series ever, averaging over 40 points per game. In total, 9 players did it, Jordan being 5 of those times in NBA history. And look at their playoffs overall, 10 times with the playoffs leading scorer. And in 86, he had the most points ever in back-to-back games, scoring 63, as well as 49 for a total of 112. So once again, for those records, Jordan was an all-time great scorer, who was phenomenal in the playoffs, and on the defensive end, he's done some things we have never seen in NBA history. Now, getting to the halfway point in this video, here's some more Jordan Unbreakable records. In Jordan's career, he has the highest scoring average at 30.1, with Wilt Chamberlain being barely behind him. And looking at the 03 season with the Wizards, he had 457 mid-range makes, the oldest player ever to lead the NBA in that category. I do want to note that year Jordan shot 45% from the mid-range, that was higher than T-Mac, as well as Kobe. And in addition to being a great mid-range shooter, Jordan was also phenomenal in the clutch, defending most game-winning buzzer beaters in NBA history at 9. And speaking of the highest ever, Jordan had the highest scoring average in NBA history for a Defensive Player of the Year winner at 35.0. No other player in NBA history even averaged above 30 points per game. And in Jordan's career, he had 8 seasons of 30-plus points, the most ever, with 7 of those being consecutive. And speaking of scoring, Jordan has the most championship seasons while leading the NBA in points per game at 6. No other player has more than 3, and there's never been a guard to do it besides Jordan. And looking at Jordan in his later years, in '98, in Game 6 versus the Jazz, he had 45 points. That is the most points ever in a player's last ever playoff game. And at age 40 in Washington, he became the oldest player ever to score 40 points in a basketball game, doing that versus the Nets. And also in NBA history, he's the oldest player ever to score 55-plus points in a playoff game. So Jordan in his later years, the Bulls was the Wizards, he was still phenomenal and a very effective player. And looking at our next set of Unbreakable records, Jordan once again has some pretty eye-popping numbers. As in his career, he has the highest scoring average for 16 different teams. No other player has more than 7. In NBA history, he has the most seasons ever, leading the NBA in scoring, while being first team all defense with 9 total seasons. The only other player to accomplish that were Kobe as well as Jerry West. And during the '98 playoffs, Jordan was the NBA's leader in fourth quarter points scored at 35 years old, the oldest player in NBA history to lead the playoffs in fourth quarter scoring. And looking back to his days in Washington, he's still the only 40-year-old to average 20 points per game or more. No other player has done that in NBA history. And looking back to his prime, he had the most consecutive years leading the NBA in scoring at 7. And during his three-peat, he had 1,954 points, the most points ever during a three-peat run. And when looking at peak Jordan in the playoffs, he was simply unstoppable when it came to scoring the basketball. In NBA history, he has the most 55-point games at 5, no other player has more than 1. He has the most 50-point playoff games at 8, and the highest scoring playoff game ever at 63 versus the Boston Celtics. So once again, Jordan's records prove he was an all-time great scorer that nobody's come close to since or before. Now, looking at our last 9 Unbreakable Jordan records, these are my personal favorite for Jordan's overall career. So the first one we have is the fact that Jordan never went to a Game 7 in the NBA Finals. No other superstar in NBA history who's been to at least 3 finals and won all of them can say they've done that in their careers. Also looking at Jordan in the finals, he has the most clutch points ever in a playoff series, that being 30 twice in '98 as well as '93. And when looking at '91, he has the most consecutive field goals made at 13. That 13th shot being the iconic layup where he switched hands and finished on the left side instead of the right. And looking at the '92 finals, Jordan had 35 points in the first half, the most ever in a finals game. Until this day, he's the only finals MVP with a perfect finals record, once again playing at least 3 finals. And in NBA history, he has the most MVPs ever, that combining finals MVPs as well as regular season MVPs at 11. And one of the craziest Jordan facts, he was only outscored by 1 player in his entire playoff career, that being Terry Cummings in his first ever playoff series. From that point on in Jordan's career, he was not once ever outscored in a playoff series, outscoring 269 playoff opponents all in a row. And looking at Jordan's most iconic game, you have to look at Game 6 of the '98 Finals. In that game, Jordan had 45 total points. The rest of the Bulls combined had 42. He is the only player in NBA history to outscore his entire team in a finals game as well as a finals clinching game. And probably the best stat of all, Jordan never lost 3 games in a row from 1990 to '98. That's over 600 games where Jordan's team didn't lose 3 in a row ever. That right there is our 45th Unbreakable record, and once again it shows how dominant Jordan was during his playing career. So as always, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. In the future, I might do more videos like this, give you guys more facts, more Unbreakable records, and just dig deeper in NBA history and give you guys some more knowledge as well as information. So as always, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.
So like I said, 23 of those I had seen already in a previous Michael Jordan video I reacted to. So if you wanted to hear my opinion on those records, I'll put the link to that video that I reacted to in the description of this one as well, so you can go check it out. I don't want to repeat myself, being that the videos are so similar, and I didn't do it that long ago. But it's crazy to think, had Michael Jordan played longer, didn't retire, maybe extended a little longer, could have had even more records. But you could also say that maybe some of those records might not exist anymore had, he broke that streak or suffered a finals loss. Who knows? Or I guess the record would have just been, depending on what kind of record it is, I guess. But I do believe that he holds the record now for the oldest player to average 20 points per game at 40 years old. I think LeBron James, I know LeBron James will break that record and exceed it. No question about that. I'll put money on that right now. And then there's another one that he said most clutch points in a final series or something like that. Well, that's fine, but what's your criteria for clutch? How are you defining clutch? People like to throw that word around, but the criteria for clutch they're using is different. And I personally believe that there isn't just one, profound and sound definition of clutch. It has to be this many seconds on the clock, and there has to be this much of a differential in the score. What? Come on, how are you defining clutch? I need to know, so I know how to look at this record that Michael Jordan has. But regardless, that's really all I had to say regarding all that data that Uncut Hoops put out. I mean, you hear this stuff, you listen to this stuff, and you're just like, my Lord. My gosh. I almost had to check them on it said Michael Jordan had the most buzzer beaters with 9. And so the first thing that came to my mind, it wasn't buzzer beater, it was game winners. And I was like, well, I know Kobe Bryant has more game winners than that. But no, Kobe Bryant doesn't have more game-winning buzzer beaters, but he has hit go-ahead game-winning buckets at not saying at a higher clip than Jordan. I don't know. I think Kobe Bryant has the most all-time between go-ahead game-winning, just game winners in general, go-ahead or at the buzzer. I think, don't quote me on that, but as far as the buzzer beaters to beat the buzzer, yeah, Mike's number one. Mike's number one. And like I said, that's crazy considering he didn't play as long as a lot of these guys that he's compared to. Jordan was special, man. Special, unique player. I miss Mike, man. Miss the 90s. Might have to go watch some, not for the channel, but just go relax, watch some Michael Jordan content as I relax in bed. Sounds like a good day to spend my Saturday night. All the way from North Carolina. Boy, it's just so much nostalgia packed in to Michael Jordan's dominance and his time in the NBA. At least for me. It's a shot of nostalgia for real, man. I mean, it was what I was introduced to when I came into the game of basketball. I was introduced to Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. That's what I saw first. So quite naturally, Anywho, folks, appreciate you guys for stepping in so much. Let me know what you think about it. What do you think of these records? Any records you know about that might have been left off, let me know. Check out our Michael Jordan playlist, and I'll catch you on the next one. We out, baby.